meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a Legend of Iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore Pure Beef Protein Isolates. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein.
Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. I am John Anderson. With me always my partners in crime, Akeem Williams and Nick Best. Unfortunately, Nick is not here yet, but we're hoping he drops in on the show. We have got a killer episode for you. We've got one of the top bodybuilders on the planet here. He's been lifting since he was a little guy. Bodybuilding is in his blood. He used to train with his dad. His dad is also an old school bodybuilder, which is a lot of his roots. Now one of the top contenders in the planet, hands down, but more importantly, one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Jon De La Rosa, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, guys. Welcome. It's good to be on here with you guys and, you know, getting back into it. I took a little hiatus to build some businesses. Well, thank God. But I've been training hard, and I cannot wait for this new season coming up, man.
That's nice. Great, brother.
I see a few of your videos shared, and man, it's glad to see you back in the gym, man.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it took. I think as we get older, right, we start to think about our futures a little bit more, and you know, I was coming to a point in my career and in my life personally that I needed to. I mean, Akeem, you know, I've always been business minded, and I wanted to step away and make sure that I secure myself financially for my future outside of bodybuilding.
Gotcha.
Especially with the times that we're in now with this whole COVID thing, and you know, it's becoming more and more difficult to make money through this industry. So
very true.
And you know, take care of myself and my family first. That's it.
That's it. Well, Jon, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back in time. There's a period in your life where your career was literally exploding. Your wife was also at the highest level. You guys had this extremely public relationship. You had businesses, and then, you know, kind of out of left field, you know, life took a turn. And obviously one of the things that I really, the viewers, everybody goes through trouble, but to hear how you went through your troubles and you basically took that lemon and made some lemonade is going to be really inspiring for our listeners to hear about. So talk to us about that process. How was that? How did you get through it? All that kind of good stuff.
I mean, Akeem has been there and seen tears, and, you know, I'm an emotional guy, sensitive guy. Doesn't mean that I'm weak, you know, it just means that I feel a little bit more. And it was probably the most difficult time of my life. It just made me question myself as a man, just the way things happen, you know, and I'm not going to put too much personal information out there, but it shook me to my core as a man. It made me question my ability to make decisions for my life, for myself, for my family. It made me question, you know, myself with my career in bodybuilding. Did I make the right choice? For the viewers out there, it just kind of, again, it came out of left field. It was totally unexpected on my end as well. Yeah. So without direction or an understanding of what happened myself, you start to look at everything and start picking yourself apart, which is what I started doing. You know, was I doing the right thing by you know, putting myself through hell and beating myself up and competing and taking supplements, and you know, we all know this is a bit of a selfish sport at times, right? I made the best ability that I could to make time for my wife and my family. I always did. But you start to question, did I do enough? You know, did I make enough money? Did I provide a good enough life? You know, all those things. So it was extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. So much so that I, you know, at this point, 4 years removed from the situation, I ran from my problems. I moved to Florida. I left my friends and my family, Akeem being one of them. you know, I said I needed to pick up, and I moved to Florida. And it was the best and worst decision of my life. It was the best decision because I needed time and space to myself to figure out, you know, exactly how I was going to move forward. When I was home with my friends and family, although it was an extremely nice thing of everyone to care and for everyone to look out for me, and it didn't allow peace into my life. It was a constant reminder every day of what I was going through. So I decided, you know what, I had enough, and almost on a whim, I moved to Florida. My business partner, Sean Covell, and I had been trying to open a gym in New York. And I told him, look, I'm not staying in New York. I got to go. He had made a suggestion, you know, that I go somewhere that I might enjoy living. And I said, okay, Florida's that place. So I just figured, you know what? I was cold and, you know, beautiful women in Florida. Why the hell not, you know?
Why not, right?
Yeah. So I came out to Florida. And again, it was the best decision at the time because I needed to work things out for myself. But at the same time, it became extremely lonely, really sad. I hit some really low lows. You know, it made me question again my career as a bodybuilder. I've been, you know, disappointed in myself of not reaching the goals that I wanted to reach. And I allowed some of the things that happened during the divorce and some of the things that were said really like mess with me. You know, it made me really question, do I have the ability to be one of the best in the world? You know, will I ever be one of the best in the world? You know, it really, really, really messed with me. But, you know, finding yourself alone and dealing with those things really, I found, makes you a stronger person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there were some really, really dark times, and it really made me look deeper in myself as a man, what I wanted to accomplish. And this isn't, you know, the things that I have now or the things that I'm going to have, the things that I'm going to accomplish has nothing to do with anyone proving anyone wrong or making anyone feel bad. It's just, I believe in myself again.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
I'm confident in myself again. And bodybuilding, truthfully, has always been my foundation. For a few years there, although I was competing, I wasn't quite right. You know, I was still going through some depression. I was still questioning myself. And, you know, when you share so many years with someone,
absolutely,
and they know, you know, they know exactly how to get to you. They know just the right things to say.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going through the divorce, I was called short and bald. And those
yeah, no, that stuff will cut deep, man.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that didn't bother me as much as you'll never be a champion bodybuilder. You know, that really, really hurt.
Yeah.
That really was like, man. And it makes you question yourself. So it has nothing to do with any of that. It's just that did enough to make me question myself. And now, you know, the Jon that I was before, I think, is back tenfold. I'm much more mentally tough. I believe in myself much more.
Yeah,
you know,
this process, this what you went through. You became a better version of yourself. You know, when you overcome that stuff, you know, you're not the old Jon. You're the old Jon plus.
Right. Yeah. And there's something to be said about that. I've been doing a lot of spiritual work and you know, mental health stuff. There's something to be said about leaving some of that behind. We change as, you know, as we grow older, we hit these milestones in our lives, and it's almost like we're shedding an older version of ourselves. Yeah. And you know, becoming this new person. Yeah. You know, we're carrying those experiences, but we're becoming better. Yeah. And I really feel that, you know, I'm in that part of my life where, you know, again, I'm just really confident in what I can do, my abilities, not just on stage, but off stage. You know, I've been able to build an incredible gym here in Florida with my buddy, Sean. We just hit over 1,200 members in 3 months.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's amazing. Good stuff.
Thank you. So, you know, we're really, really proud of the gym. and that was, you know, something that I needed to really like boost my confidence. After that, you know, I relaunched my clothing brand. I merged with another company, so we're going to be dropping some more merch. You know, just athleisure wear. We're going to be doing girl stuff, guy stuff, all over.
That's great, brother. That's great.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So you know, the old Jon is back, better.
Yeah. Well, you know, brother, it's the hardest things, the things that we think are going to break us, that we work through, that make us bigger and better versions of ourselves, you know. And you know, your story, obviously it was public. So it was, you know, most people go through challenges, you know, whatever they want to call similar. We all have our challenges. So for people to see you go through this on a public level is something they can grab a hold of and say, you know what, you know, he did it. It gives them hope that they can do it too, because when it comes down to it, I mean, I'm kind of like you. I'm on the inside. I'm a softie, man. I get emotionally hurt so easily. Yeah. And you know, it sounds funny, but it's the truth, man. I mean, even my mom says you're the biggest.
John, don't listen to that guy. last week we were on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to tell him the story?
I'll let you. Let's hear you tell what you saw, because I was the one who did it, so I know what I did.
last week we were on this podcast. Yeah. What's his name again?
Tony Huge.
Tony Huge. Last week we were on this podcast with Tony Huge, right?
Yeah.
And Tony Huge is dropping a lot of gems. You know, he's saying a lot of knowledgeable stuff. You know, he's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
You know, letting him speak. And all of a sudden, he finished talking. This guy pulls out a bottle full of piss. And he didn't want to interrupt Tony to go use the bathroom.
I was so sensitive. I was so nice and so sensitive. I didn't want to stop him from talking.
Hey,
so let me get this straight. Just because I pissed in a bottle, right? Just because I pissed in a bottle means I can't be sensitive? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you know, the thing with the divorce, it was extremely public, like you said, and that was probably made it the hardest thing. It's like, I remember I was in Germany maybe like 8 months after, and people were still coming up to me like, "Hey, what happened?" And it happened for almost 2-3 years. People kept coming up and asking, and that probably prolonged where I'm at now. But again, I mean, not to get like overly religious or spiritual, but you know, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest.
Absolutely. So, he gives you what you can take, even though you don't believe it sometimes. That's exactly right.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think it was a mistake making your relationship so public?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's got to add a ton of pressure, brother. A ton of pressure.
You know, at the time, you know, my ex-wife and I we didn't even expect it. I mean, you Hakeem, you were right there alongside of us. I mean, our careers just blew up.
It exploded right side by side.
Yeah, and it was like, you know, I was doing well on stage, she was doing well on stage, we were getting a ton of promotion, and it wasn't something that we wanted to happen, it just happened. Looking back at it, I wish we would have managed that a little bit better, but you know, we saw it as an opportunity. We had great success. I was able to open a store. I mean, I traveled a ton. I was able to do a lot. So in hindsight, I wasn't really, you know, aware of the damage that it was causing or the damage that it may cause later on down the road.
Yeah.
You know, but
cranks up the pressure, man.
Yeah. In hindsight, things are 2020. So yeah, I would have done a million things different. But at the same time, you know, again, I think the experiences that I shared in those 9 years with that person I would never change it. You know, the love that I developed for that person will never go. It's just,
that's a strong person to admit that too. I mean, a lot of people will cover that emotion up with saying, "Oh, you know, forget this, forget that." You're still true to what you felt and what you feel, and that's a strong person right there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, of course, I went through my resentment and my anger, and you know, I went through all of those stages. But at the end of the day, like, I spent 9 years with somebody who I grew up with, you know, and I grew up with in front of what seemed like the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much was.
Yeah, I mean, we did some incredible things. Her and I saw the world together. We did some awesome stuff. So those experiences will never change, and my feelings for her will never change. But I do believe that it was the best thing for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was at the Arnold. I can't remember what year it was, but we ended up a few stations apart taking a piss in the bathroom. And we had a quick conversation. Hey, what's going on, brother? Because we obviously met with both being with MHP, but then since us going our own directions, but we still see each other at expos, and we're sitting there conversing real quick. And you're like, you just told me, said, man, I just had to get out of there. He said it was like every place I went in New York, somebody else was asking me what happened, and you got to relive that. And to get someplace where you can actually start to develop in terms of your own healing. It's going to be, if you're asked that question every day, it's very hard to make forward steps. So when you told me that, I remember thinking, good for you, because you needed to do what was best for you. And that's what you did. And now look at you. You're bigger.
John. Listen, he only moved to Florida because he was tired of the snow in New York. He got tired of shoveling snow, and he wanted to run away.
That had a lot to do with it, that's for sure.
You can't
definitely in my list. Negatives, that was definitely on the negative list.
Yeah.
Well, you can't shovel sunshine, man. You can't shovel sunshine. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've always been a West Coast guy, and I don't mind visiting the East Coast, but I never understood why you stayed over there with a snow shovel in your hand. I never got that. It's like shit.
After living in Florida the last 4 years, again, I had some really dark times here, and had nothing to do with waking up in the sun. It was more. But I tell you what, more times than not, when I found myself in my home by myself and I wanted to blow my brains out because my brain just kept like replaying all of that shit.
Yeah.
Getting out in the sun was probably the best thing I could do. I would go for a walk, and just kind of breathe in some
vitamin D, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if there's any truth to this. I know that it's been said, but I just feel better waking up in a beautiful place. I can walk outside and it's like I'm in a tropical paradise in my own backyard.
Brother, the bottom line is you can't argue someone's opinion, and that's your opinion. And if that's what you feel, then nobody can argue that. Whether it's a fact or not, it works for you and good for you. It's that simple.
I started to develop a routine. I got up and I started to read. I would take, I developed really bad sleeping habits through my depression and all the shit that I was going through. I developed IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. My sleeping habits are terrible. There was a lot going on, with all the stress and anxiety of it all.
Yeah.
So I remember listening to a really good podcast with Jordan B. Peterson. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. And he said, getting up and creating some kind of routine for yourself again in the midst of all this chaos will help you organize your thoughts. And I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. So I started reading a book called The Daily Stoic, which you just get up. It's a small excerpt. You read a little bit of it, and every day is a new excerpt. Just getting your mind into a positive headspace. And then I would go for a walk. I would do my cardio and start thinking, okay, I'm going to go train at this time. I got these meals. I got my clients I got to meet, and, so on and so forth. And that helped out tremendously as well.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm a big believer in that, brother. I mean, I know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow before I go to bed tonight, because then I wake up and my brain, I don't have to think. I execute. I plan today for tomorrow. And for me, I mean, I'll tell you, we've all got plenty of things, obstacles we've overcome. And one of the ways that I overcome, some of my challenges was to always be planned, because you take me out of a planned moment and I start kind of I'm turning into fucking Rain Man, and I'm off in the fucking corner rocking, saying weird shit, but if I know where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm good. So I can't tell you, I mean, that plan, having a routine, I wouldn't be able to exist without a routine. So I totally understand where you're coming from there, brother.
Another cool thing that came of all of this too, I was able to, you know, I was in touch with a organization called Building A Brotherhood, and it's an organization based out of Australia. This lady reached out to me. Her brother had unfortunately committed suicide, and she had somehow heard of my story, and one thing led to another, and I started talking to guys from this organization that were going through a similar, you know, going through divorce or depression or whatever, and I was helping these guys like out of their own, you know, shit. Wow. And it ended up being really, like, for me, it ended up being really fulfilling. You know, I was like, wow. And I think I got a DM maybe 2 weeks ago of a guy going through divorce, and he was like, hey man, I really need help. Like, how did you go through it? You know,
that's amazing. You know?
You know, like I say this all the time, and again, it sounds probably cheesy, but man, God has blessed me, dude. Like, I was this poor kid from Dominican Republic, and I've traveled the world. I'm on a podcast with some awesome bodybuilders, you know, and I've had the opportunity to help people. And it's, you know, if anything, I can feel good that I've done something good with the platform that I've been provided with, you know, all through what? Because I fell in love with Kuwait. I mean, know what I mean? Like, for me, I was just telling my girl earlier, and this is no bullshit, I'll have her scream. Just earlier, I was like, how fucking crazy is this that
look what you've done, you know?
Yeah, like, how crazy. Like, I remember being like 8, 9 years old, like opening magazines and telling my dad, like, I'm going to be one of the best. You know, even though I haven't reached anywhere near where I want to be.
No,
brother, you're one of the best.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit.
Yeah. Let's clear the air.
I was gonna make one point to you. I noticed you said something very interesting. Something that hurt you, even though somebody like your ex called you bald and short, that didn't hurt you as much as when she said you wasn't a champion bodybuilder, and you let that affect you, even though you know it's not true.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, that's the thing. You know, we always have our own perspective of things. We never see. Akeem, how many years did I say, God damn, Akeem, you're getting so fucking big, and you were like, really? No. We don't ever see ourselves in the same light that other people see us. So like, I started to think maybe I'm not. Maybe I have this perception of myself that I am good, and I'm not.
You know, when someone that you really love says something that's hurtful, it's hard to fuck. I mean, that crushes me. I mean, I'll be the first guy to go find a quiet place and have a good cry, because that emotion spools up so fucking fast, and I got to get it out.
Yeah. For me, it was like, it just really made me like question again, it made me, that really bothered me, because again, I felt like this was something that, again, since I was a kid, how many kids grow up wanting to be a baseball player and it actually happens?
Yeah, very few.
There's very few. Same thing with any other sport. Like, I remember visiting my dad while he was in prison and showing him these books. And, you know, we would sit there and he would say, yeah, this is Flex Wheeler. Like, look how awesome he is. And I'm like, I'm going to be that. I'm going to be one of these guys. And I'm actually doing it. But when somebody, like you said, John, you know, knows exactly how to get to you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She did. And it fucked up my whole world.
Oh, you're totally distorted perspective of yourself after that. 100%. I'm totally with you. I get that. And I'll tell you, brother, when I found out you were coming on the show, I was like, first thing that came to my mind is you've already inspired so many people, and just you know, in terms of the bodybuilding world, but actually sharing your story with this is going to touch 100 times more people, because, you know, so many people go through this stuff and they need to relate to somebody who's also done it. And the fact that your relationship was public, you know, so many people were able to see what happened, and for you telling your story and you coming through the end of this and explaining how you're a bigger, better version of yourself. And I don't mean physically, I'm talking mentally and spiritually. This is going to be the power of this show, because I mean, you're going to inspire so many, just like you're doing with the DMs you explained. But now we're going to reach. I'm so excited that you're sharing this with everybody, because it is really inspiring, and so many people need to know that it's okay. You have to go through these channels to get better.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I just I feel like it's important for me to be honest with.
Yes.
Look, you know, I'm a 270-pound guy. It's not easy to sit in front of a camera that's being recorded and knowing it's going to be put out there saying, yeah, I cried like a fucking baby, you know, for months.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know what? There might be a guy out there that's dealing with the same shit. And if he doesn't know, like, hey, this is normal, it's okay to feel, it's okay to be broken, it's okay to, you know, then yeah, you know, I'm doing what God has blessed me with a disservice.
Yes.
I have a platform with you guys on my own social media to do good. And if I'm not doing good with it, then I'm not doing right. I want to do right and I want to do good. So that's where it all comes from, man.
Yeah, and brother, I mean, you're the epitome of a big, strong man. And then to also talk about the fact that, hey, on an emotional basis, when I was hurting, yes, I cried. Yes, I had this. Yes, I had depression. And yes, I questioned myself. And yes, I worked through it. And yes, you can too. That's a tremendous message that we're sending out here. So, brother, really fucking cool shit. You know?
Yeah, that's very true. Because I think, especially when it comes to relationship and stuff like that, as men, we're always taught to hold it in and not supposed to show emotion. And that's why, you know, a lot of us, you know, a lot of guys develop mental problems and stuff like that. So, you know, my hat's off has always been off to you. Like I said, you're my brother for life. And, you know, you needed to move to Florida to heal. And I'm just happy to see you in a better place, you know, doing better. And I definitely know, you know, your journey is not done yet. You got a lot more stuff to accomplish. You know,
just
you're
getting
healthy.
started, man.
Exactly. You know, so, you know, I look forward to seeing you on stage again, bro.
Thank you, brother. I'm gonna hopefully be catching up to you, but just so the viewers out there know, like Akeem and I are very, very close. I remember Akeem, you'll remember this story. When Akeem found out, it was the middle of the night. Well, seemed to be the middle of the night for me. I had been up for, you know, maybe 2 days at that point. It might have been like 10 or 11 o'clock, and Akeem drove to my house and just to check on me. Mind you, Akeem was like, how far were you? Like 45 minutes from me, an hour from me at that point?
Yeah.
So, you know, just so you guys know, Akeem is what he's saying is not for camera. It is 100% true. He drove to I was actually at my parents' house at the time. And he just drove there, and Akeem will be the first one to tell you, I just cried. I just sat there and cried. I had no idea what to do, how to express myself. I just felt broken as a person, as a man, and I have incredible friends like Akeem who came out and just were there for me. That's what I mean. Like, God has blessed me with these incredible people in my life. Akeem, Juan, Victor, Marco. You know, my boys in New York, they know they're my brothers, they're family to me. Anything they need, I'm always there. So this isn't like all fluff for the video.
No.
100% true.
Yeah, we keep it pretty raw on the show, brother. You're talking from the heart, for straight up.
And Akeem is, you know, Akeem knows that. Like, those guys, all of those guys, they're family to me, you know, and that's never ever, bodybuilding aside, that shit is never gonna change. Victor's kids are like, they're like my kids. I love those kids, you know. Same thing with Juan and Marco. You know, I do whatever I can for whenever I can see them. You know, I want to see them as often as I can, and you know, that's why I said the move to Florida has been rough, because I'm here alone. My entire family and all of my friends are in New York. But you know,
but with the healing you've gone through, you know, there's going to be a time when you're going to be able to go back there and you're not going to carry any pain around with you. You know, you're going to go back there and it's going to be like holy ground all over again.
Oh yeah.
And you've been healing to the point where pretty soon there won't be anything negative there for you. And then you'll be able to go back and it'll be
past that. I don't think there's any negativity. Again, you know, what happened. I think it was the best. I think what I needed most in life is to create some kind of stability, some kind of foundation. Up until recently, like I said, being completely open and honest with you guys, I was 37 years old. I walked away from a really good career as an elevator mechanic, good benefits, good pay, good everything, to chase this bodybuilding career. And I was in an upward trajectory until my divorce. For me, after my divorce, I didn't perform nearly as good as I wanted to. or as I was trying to, because a lot of people were like, oh, Jon wasn't in condition. Yeah, motherfucker, I was doing 3 hours of cardio, like eating barely any food. Like I was trying. But the thing is, when you're not here,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You need to be in the right state of mind. You gotta, So, I really do believe it was the best thing for me to come out here. And I did find that stability. I found that foundation in creating this gym, and now, creating some kind of revenue outside of bodybuilding. Because again, as I was looking back, just as early as 2 years ago when I moved here, or 4 years ago, but 2 years after I had moved here, I was looking at myself as a 36-year-old man, like, okay, well, what do I have in life? I don't have a family. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have a business of my own anymore. Like bodybuilding was everything. And that to me is scary, because
a little diversification will let you sleep at night.
Well, stability, right? Because frankly speaking, we're all bodybuilders here, and we have made money through this industry, but all of us here know this is not a way to survive, right? You're not going to have a good living unless you're one of the top guys.
You got to source outside the competition. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've always been a family man. I want to have a family someday. I want to have my own kids, and I don't want them to see their dad stressing about where he's going to get money from. What he's going to do as a 37, 38, 39-year-old man. Like, you shouldn't be figuring out your life at 39, 40 years old. That should already be done.
Well, brother, sounds like your new gym is putting you right in that spot where you want to be. So congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. Really cool. Well, I got to say one more time, brother. I just thank you that you came and you were so honest about everything, because I know this is going to inspire so many people. And that's what the show's about, is helping people become the best version of themselves. And that's really cool stuff, brother.
Thank you.
So,
man. Yeah.
So shifting gears, tell us a little bit about your experience going over to Oxygen. Talk to us about that.
Oxygen was a good experience. The guys out there, they're extremely passionate about bodybuilding. I went out there for a job. Anyone that knows me, Akeem can probably attest to this. He's seen me in these settings. It's business for me. I went out there for my career. It was a job that I needed to get done. These people were willing to help me and push me and train me. And I was, doing 2-a-days. And they were up my ass every second, and it was okay for me. Some people don't like that. For me, it was like, I was used to playing team sports where, like, I remember doing 3-a-days in football, where the coaches would come into our tents when we were away in camp and wake us up with a fucking pan. And literally within 5 minutes, I had to get all my shoulder pads on and everything. And then we're sprinting, like, I'm okay with that. Some people are not okay with that. These guys were kind of like that. They would knock on your door. Hey, you got to go train. All right. Let me get dressed and go.
Let's go.
So I was out there for a job. My experience was good. They fed me well. They flew me out first class. They flew me back home first class. They trained, they pushed me. So my experience was good. I spent a lot of time with Rami. Victor was there for 2 weeks. Victor could not stay. He was not happy there. He was it was not a good place.
Well, that's what Akeem was saying. He says, it works great for some, not for others,
Yeah. So like I said, for me, the experience was fine. I had gotten out there for work. That's really how I saw it. I made some great friends while I was there. And I know that a lot of people have come back and not had great experiences, and for me, it was okay. And I was fortunate that Victor was there, because Victor looked out for me as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm the kind of guy that's like, if they tell me to like eat shit, it's the best. I'm gonna get shredded eating shit. I would.
Yeah. Time to fucking figure out a way to chew on that turd,
I wouldn't do it. Hey, John, no, don't do that. So I was fortunate enough to have a guy that was experienced enough to kind of guide me the right way.
That's what a big brother is for, man.
Yeah.
And you did a lot of training with Flex Lewis. Talk to us about that. That had to be a great experience as well.
So I had moved out here again on a whim. I remember being in Dominican Republic, and Victor and I had just finished our competition, the DR Coat of Arms, Dominican Republic Coat of Arms, and it was a great show. We had a good time, but I had spent a few days by myself just getting some of the business side of the show done, and I realized, man, I feel really good. So that's what like keyed me off. I'm like, all right, I'm away from everyone. This is what I need more of.
That separation from that tough spot where everybody was asking you what's going on. It was anywhere where people weren't asking what was happening.
So then that's what prompted the conversation to move to Florida. And again, it was within maybe 4 or 5 days that I literally threw my clothes in a garbage bag and drove. And then Flex had texted me and was like, hey, is it true you moved to Florida? I said, yeah. This was like maybe a week after I had moved in. And he said, we should get together and train. I said, sure, whenever you want. At that time, I was still kind of, not in a good place. So I didn't make any hard plans with him. I just said, I left it in his court. I said, whenever you want. Well, sure enough, he texted me the next day. What are you doing? What are you training? Come by the gym. So I drove an hour out to Boca from where I was in Miramar, and we trained. And I was dealing with some things, so I was angry and pushing him, and he enjoyed it. And he was like, we should train tomorrow. And I said, okay, cool. So I came out, and it just became a thing. We just started training together every day, and it was a cool experience training with Flex in his gym and seeing the fans come around. And I mean, wow, what a wild experience that was. Like people would literally fly in from fucking, I don't know, across the world and like knock on his door, like, hey, let me in. Like, it's a private gym,
Yeah.
The guy's extremely popular, and a lot of people love him. So it was cool to experience that with him. It was cool to train with him. I made a great friend there as well. Again, another reason for me to really believe that something is looking out for me. Someone.
Yeah. It was almost like part of your plan, Why Florida? Well, there was one of the reasons why,
Yeah. And I promise to you, that had nothing to do with it. I just picked Florida because it was hot. No snow. And I figured, what? That's where I want to be. And then it worked out, it did.
Yeah, sometimes it's, when you don't understand, just, pushing forward and trusting that your plan will unfold for you is all you got. And once it starts to unfold, it's really easy to see that you're doing things, even though you don't know why you're doing them for the right reason. It sounds like that's exactly what happened to you, brother.
Yeah. And I had to keep reminding myself during the entire, even up until recently, maybe up until like 6-7 months ago, where I just kept telling myself, you know what, this feels really shitty. It feels really uncomfortable. I was building that gym out, working 12, 14 hours a day. I was not eating like a bodybuilder. I was certainly not training like a bodybuilder. I just didn't have the energy building out a gym. My partner, Sean, and I did all the construction in the gym. We built out the bathroom.
Oh, no shit.
We did everything.
Dude.
If you go back on my Instagram, you can see I was like on a little construction cart, like tearing up the tiles, and we tiled the bathroom. We did everything.
Dude, that's crazy.
It was a great experience. Great experience.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of, so if you did all the construction, I just built a gym in one of my outbuildings, and it was maybe 800 square feet, and I laid the floor in, the squares.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was fucking wrecked. I was like, my posterior chain was so jacked up from getting up and down off the floor.
Oh yeah.
I was like, my knees were shot. I was like, oh my God. So I can only imagine doing the construction.
25,000 square feet of it. It was.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, I was certainly not training like a bodybuilder, but man, it feels good to be back. It feels good to be getting under some weight. And like the other day I was squatting 5 plates and I was like, man, this feels really fucking good to be back. You know?
That's killer, brother. That when you put that on your shoulders and you take a step and you're like, the next step's going to feel better. That's like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
You know that every movement is just feeling you're going deeper into your groove. That's a great feeling.
Yeah. I've been hack squatting crazy weight. It just mentally for me, it's something that I needed. You know, I told my girl the other day, I said, you know, I've been putting everything off. I mean, I've been putting bodybuilding off to focus on everything else. And I just felt more anxious, more stressed, and I remember just going into the gym and like fucking destroying myself. I just wanted to let it all out. And I had a crazy back workout. This was a few weeks back, maybe like a month ago. And I came home and I was just destroyed. The best night of sleep I've had in years. But then the next day I woke up and I felt good. And I was looking forward to the gym. And I was,
that's a good feeling.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay. In my mind, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to give this 100% now.
Yeah.
And fuck everything else. If it all falls and burns, I don't fucking care. I need bodybuilding. I need it. Yeah. So man, I'm fucking pumped for the 2022 season.
And bodybuilding it's you know when the rest of your life is somewhat sorted out, it's so much easier to truly focus on what you're trying to do. And you having your new gym in place, you know, you just got this smooth sailing ahead of you, and all you want to do is you know, just be the best you can be. It's a great place, brother. Congratulations.
That's it. The hard thing for me, I think, throughout my entire career was I'm a very selfless person. I can't be selfish. It's just not in my genetic makeup. You know, honestly, if I'm training and you need a shirt, I'll take it off my back. Here you go. Like that's just the way that I am. Like I'll give everything to anyone. So it's really taken a lot out of me to put myself first. And like I said, part of that transition, if I was still in New York, I would have never been able to be where I'm at right now.
My brother, I mean, when we first met, it was in the MHP booth, and I remember shaking your hand and saying hello, and I remember thinking, man, that is a genuine dude, because you can feel the difference between someone that actually is saying hello and someone that's just kind of doing their job, you know.
Right.
And I remember that right away. You know, you are, like I was in the beginning, I mean, you're one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, you know, and you can feel that. You know,
thank you. So, you know, if I was in New York, I would never have had the opportunities that I have now mentally, right? I really learned that sometimes it's okay to say no. Sometimes it's okay to put yourself first. Yeah, sometimes you need to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first step in that was me moving, right? That was the first. You guys both know me. Maybe some of the viewers don't. I'm an extremely close person to my family. Extremely close. We were always together. I mean, fuck, my dad is like my right-hand man. He's with me everywhere I go. You know?
That was the next question. I wanted you to talk about the relationship with your dad, because I'll tell you, brother, I have such an envy for the relationship you have with dad, training from the time you were young. I mean, my dad started me lifting weights. You know, I was real young, but he trained with me, funny enough, one time.
Oh, wow.
You know,
this is how you do it. Go ahead.
And it was definitely a do as I say, not as I do type session. You know, so when I hear you talk about, you know, lifting weights with your dad, and there was literally equipment in the living room, and you're training with your dad, I was like, oh my God, you know, this was. You know, I was given some cool toy to get the fuck out of the house, you know? So when I want to hear it, brother. I personally can't wait to hear how, you know, what that's like to have that with your dad, you know?
So I'll get to that quickly. You know, moving here did give me the ability to say, it was the first time in my life that I was able to say, okay, I need to do this for me. I need to. Even though what was happening, receiving all that love and that care wasn't allowing me to move forward. So I did take that first step and said, you know what, I'm moving for myself. And that allowed me to then continue making steps for myself, moving forward, and recognize that, you know what, I'm not a bad person for maybe saying no sometimes, or putting myself first sometimes.
Taking care of yourself.
Yeah. And it was so necessary at that point in my life. I keep alluding to it. I had some really dark times, man. I'm not a suicidal person at all, but I really did start to think about, like, you know, is this really what life is about? Like, feeling, you know, giving everything to someone and then just shitting on you and not caring about you. You know, your career, like I remember being pulled aside, and I'm not mentioning any names, but you know, at a certain show I did not do very well at all, and the judges were like, hey, you need to stop. And for me, like, hearing that was like, holy fuck, like, it's that visible, you know. Meanwhile, I'm on stage, like, pretending like I'm okay, you know what I mean? So it was so necessary for me to do that, and I think it's really important for some of the
brother, you were still beating me during that time.
Well, I'm not sure how or why, but yeah, it was a rough go. And then back to my dad. That story is just incredible. My dad has been a huge inspiration in my life. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I sincerely apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you in the middle of, you were being real soulful, and I didn't catch that. And I mean, the best part about this show is that you're speaking from the heart. So I just want to say, I wasn't trying to change the subject when you were on a roll there, because I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you're being open and honest, because this is really cool, soulful stuff, brother.
No, it's my job. Like I said, if I'm not being honest, I'm not doing right, you know, and I have to do right by people and, you know, by the opportunity that I have. So, yeah, my relationship with my dad is really unique. Obviously, it's really, really cool to have someone. And I only recently started talking about when it was that my dad and I really, like, connected. My dad was taken from us when I was about 8 years old, almost 8 years old. He spent a few years in prison. Before that, we would always look at magazines together and so on and so forth. And yeah, when he went to prison, my mom would take us up there, and you know, we look at magazines and talk about bodybuilding and whatever. And you know, we really started to connect during that time. And when he came home, I remember just being excited because, yeah, before he went, I remember he had a adjustable bench with a cage that he would
right in the living room. Yeah,
he would like pull it out the side, like people were watching TV, like look at
the TV's not important. Shit, you know.
No, my dad's there, like, my mom's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, we don't need to watch Wheel of Fortune. Let's trade, you know.
And that's how it started, you know. It was fucking
dude, that
awesome.
Is so awesome, man.
We didn't have much, but man, those.
But you had what mattered, man. That's what it was all about. Fuck, man.
It was awesome, man.
That is fucking.
I remember my dad, like, they were horrible. The metric shakes, the first, like, like shit. My dad was like, "Drink it, it's gonna get you big." So I'm like, they're chugging it as a little kid. I did it, you know. So yeah, I mean, it was really cool. And then when he came back, I was about 14, almost 15, and from there on, we trained every day together. I did not want to miss a beat. I valued his presence in my life. That's number one.
You referred to him as your best friend quite a lot, yeah.
Yes, he's my best friend. There's nothing
that's fucking so cool, man.
There's nothing
that is so cool
that my dad does not know about. I mean, he knows about literally everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, literally everything.
That's a blessing, brother. You know.
Yeah. He's the thing is, I realized really early on in my life that there's no one singular person in this world that's going to care more about you than your own parents. Yeah. And if they don't, you got pretty fucked up parents. But your
brother, I've been fighting for my dad's attention for fucking 50 years, and I'm still not getting the job done. You know, so.
Well, maybe it's not through bodybuilding. Maybe you gotta connect on something or some other.
I mean, I totally with you, man. I look at you and I think that's the most special thing ever, brother. That's so cool.
And I hear that a lot, and it's such a cool thing to be able to share with people. I want to be able to have that experience with my kids. You know, I want to be able to let my kids know, because look, my dad can't travel outside of the country, but he's been to every show in the country. Every
That's
show.
awesome.
Like he won't miss, you know, he's there. He's got my back 100%. I remember there's a video actually still out on YouTube of the, I think it's the 2018 Olympia. And there's thousands of people in there. And you can hear my dad screaming his nuts off when I come out.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm just like,
that is awesome, man.
Are you picking up my dad's voice? You know, but he loses his voice. He won't talk for a week because he's just done. Yeah. But man, what an experience to have a father like that. And there's a lot of things that you guys on the exterior, you see a dad who's supportive and who's been my best friend. But you know, my dad has had a lot of things happen in his life that, like, I really admire him for. You know, he's never, you know, he went to jail and you know, he had to pay for some things that he did. And but dude, when I tell you my dad never let it get him down, he just said, no, I'm gonna take it on the chin, and I'm gonna, you know, smile about it. I'm alive, I'm okay.
That's the way you got to do it.
That's one thing I could attest to for his dad. He's always smiling. He's always a happy person.
Yeah, he's got such a great outlook on life. And I leaned on that a lot when I was going through my divorce. I needed to see that no matter what's going on in my dad's life, he was going to be okay. He believed he was going to be okay. You know, a little bit of a Debbie Downer. I don't want to talk about it too much, but like, my dad's brother committed suicide last November.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, brother.
Thank you. It was a rough time for my family, but when that happened, I was really concerned about my dad, because my dad is also, as Akeem alluded to, one of those men who are just like never going to show you how he feels. He'll show you he's happy, but he'll never cry in front of you. And that's kind of why I took after my mother. My father wasn't present when I was developing those things. So my mom told me, hey, it's okay. Tell me what's wrong. And I learned how to do that way. My father didn't have that same experience. And I was really, really concerned about him. And I remember him turning around and said, hey, you know what, John? I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. You know, what Sal did was stupid. You know, he didn't know how to deal with what happened. And I wish he would have talked to me more, but we can't sit and wallow in it. All I'm going to do is cherish the moments I had with him. And to me, that was
powerful stuff, man. That's powerful stuff right there.
Yeah. To me, that was such a profound moment, because I was like, man, instead of like feeling self-pity and all this hurt and pain, which is useless, really.
Yeah.
He turned it around and was like, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, it sucks he's gone, but I'd rather think of all the good times.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, that's so fucking true. You know, like, I wish I was that strong of an individual. Like, after losing your brother,
yeah,
you know, to have the clarity to say, you know what, I'm not going to think about how fucked up this is. I'm going to think about how great my time with my brother was.
Yeah. And to give you that direction at that time was, you know, very insightful too. I mean, that's a wise man right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's my dad. I would say it. I'm fucking lucky to have had the father that I have and the best friend.
Oh, brother.
I mean,
I envy your stories about what you talk about with him.
There's some stuff that I can tell you maybe off camera, because it my birds and the bees talk was quite funny. I tell you, my dad's my best friend. He's my best friend.
I'm sure he didn't spare any details. He probably gave you the really best details ever had. Everybody gonna have a hand.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll just say I was very prepared.
Yeah. You went in there like a professional.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if he was going to do his job, he was going to do it well. So, you know.
Absolutely.
Oh man, well that's awesome. That's really cool. Like I said, when I've ever heard you talk about your dad, I thought, man, that is so cool. So I'm, like I said, I envy you, bro. That's really, really cool stuff.
Thank you.
And I think also Jon is one of the few competitors that I could actually say he's shared a stage with his dad too, right?
Yeah.
Very few people have ever done that.
Wow, that's wicked.
We competed a few times together, and it was always always such a fun experience training with him. My dad, like, he wants to get ready for a show now, but he's just like, he's always so like, I remember him getting ready. He's like, man, I'm just happy to be on stage. I'm like, God, I'm super competitive. I'm like, no, I want to fucking win.
You win. Yeah, he just happy to be on stage.
My dad's like, bro, we're going to get pancakes after this. It's all right.
No, I mean, he looks great. I mean, clearly he passed down some wicked genetics to you, and you can see a lot of similarities in your physiques.
Yeah. He's 60. He's 60 years old, man, and still kicking ass.
Is he 60? Is he 60 years old? Oh my God, I would.
Yeah, he don't look nothing like 60, man. I saw him just the other day. And me and him was talking because Victor was actually trying to get him to get on stage again. After Victor walked off, me and him started talking, and he was telling me like, man, I'm an old man right now, man. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at your legs. I was like, yeah, old man. Look at all my legs.
He's still got legs.
I'm like, once you got legs, you can compete.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, too funny. Hey, Jon, did you know in 2007, myself, Marco, I believe Juan Morel, and my dad competed in that light heavy class.
No shit.
I think it was 49 guys.
Jesus Christ, that's big.
I placed second.
Mm-hmm.
My dad placed seventh.
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Juan placed ninth. And I think Marco placed like 13th or something like that. 12th.
Well, he beat both Juan
and Marco.
Dude, that is crazy right there. That's straight crazy. I mean, you're talking about some guys that did real damage in the industry and on the Olympia stage, and he put a whooping to him. That's beautiful stuff right there. That's timeless. That's timeless, brother. I love it.
Yeah. Well, he has the pictures hanging up in his bedroom, man.
Yeah, I would too if I was in that phone. That's good stuff. Oh man. So would you say he's your biggest inspiration, or did somebody else wear that hat?
No, my dad is definitely my biggest one. I mean, my dad, again, I think in order for somebody to truly inspire you, you need to see the faults in them as well, right? And obviously, like I said, my dad did some things that, like, he paid the price for. He did his time, and unfortunately, his family was affected by it. But I think in the way that my father redeemed himself and continues to redeem himself as a man, as a husband, as a father, I can't really I can't think of anyone else that might be a better suited,
I mean, everybody makes mistakes. It's how you handle your mistakes that defines your character.
Exactly. Exactly. And my dad could have came home and continued doing the same dumb shit, got in trouble again and went away again. But my dad saw how it affected all of us. We had sleepless nights and nights where we were worried about where we're getting food from and how we're going to have a roof over our head. I mean, it was a really fucked up time.
Besides, it was going to be far more fun to be lifting weights in the living room, blocking people watching TV,
Absolutely. So, instead of coming back home and, doing the same old shit, he said, no, I'm going to get it together, man. And I'm going to be a good father, and I'm going to be a good provider, and I'm going to be a good husband, and I'm going to take my family out of this ghetto ass place and move them into a nicer place so they have an opportunity to have a better life. So yeah, when I say my dad's my biggest inspiration, I mean it. Like, he's a great father. He was a good husband. He's, just a good man. Like I said, the way he carries himself, the way he cares about others, I just think I'm blessed to have a really great inspiration in him.
That's really cool.
But I have that in so many of my friends too. Akeem, Victor, again, I mean, Victor's a wild fucking dude. But when I tell you the dude's a great father, you know, he's a great father. He's a great friend, you know, and an incredible bodybuilder. So I have inspiration all over. You know, look at what Juan is doing. You know, I got some really great people around me, and I'm super grateful for them.
Well, brother, you attract people much like yourself, and it's very, very clear listening to you talk. You know.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, if you could jump in a time machine, right, and you could go back in time and talk to yourself, how far would you go back, and what piece of advice would you give yourself? You could give yourself one piece of advice.
You're gonna get me emotional here.
Bro, this whole episode's been emotional. I can't thank you enough for the cool shit. These are you're dumping pearls on the world here, brother.
Thank you. I think I'd probably go back to that 7-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably tell him that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Because that moment in my life changed a lot. It instilled a lot of fear and worry and doubt. And it all worked out. I'm okay. So, but it was a lot of years of struggle mentally. It was a lot of years of fear and doubt. And like I said, I always say it, man, I'm so grateful for the life that I've lived. I've traveled the world. I've made money doing something that I love. I've had a great support system. But, you know, watching your hero being taken away from you is you know, at that age, you know, if I was a little bit older, you know, at that age, you're being taught like the bad guys go to jail. So I had this like affliction in my own head. Like, wait a second, this is my dad. He's like the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
And they're like carting him off. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So I had so much going on. And I see my mom crying in the middle of the night, working 3-4 jobs, just trying to put food on the table. It was a lot for a young kid to deal with. And I think the lasting effects of that, up until recently, honestly, were damaging. You know, I get into these zones where mentally where I'm like, I gotta make money, and I don't ever want to go back to that struggle that I felt.
Yeah.
So and again, sometimes that could be damaging. Me living in Florida for 4 years all by myself, you know, is a sign of that. But again, like I think some of those experiences are useful. And I would never take it away. I would just tell that kid, you know, myself as a young boy, like, hey, you know what? There are going to be some times that really fucking suck. And there's going to be some times that you're going to question yourself and why you're going through the things you're going through. But everything's going to be okay. That's it.
Yeah. Brother, that's really, I mean, that's good shit right there.
That was really deep, bro.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Yeah. I mean, when you talked about getting emotional, hell, you had me coming right on the bus with you. You know, I mean, that's because
I fought it back.
You know,
I fought it back.
I mean, because you literally, you know, what you said, you went back to that 7-year-old boy. Obviously, you got done talking about your dad being your inspiration or your hero, and you had to watch this whole thing unfold. And that's, again, brother, you know, really good stuff. I mean, this is going to be so helpful for people to listen to and watch. And you know, you're a pillar of the industry, and for people to see behind the scenes and that you go through the struggles, and as a person you grow from the tough times. And really what it comes down to is, like you said earlier, you really don't get more put in front of you than what you can handle. You just don't know it at the time. Yeah. Right. You know, that's good stuff, brother. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Like I said, in those moments, it's hard to, you know, see the lesson in things. It's hard to understand why you're going through things. But, you know, I think it's really important to kind of remove yourself from the situation sometimes a little bit. Still, you know, try to manage those emotions. But I think it's a little bit important to detach yourself a little bit from the situation and understand that, hey, you know what, as much as this really sucks, or as great, and even on the opposite end, maybe you're going through a really great time.
Yeah.
I think it's still important to detach and know that this isn't going to last forever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you know, even at the highest peak, it's never going to last forever. I pray that I might be one of the best bodybuilders in the world, right? Like truly at the Olympia level, placing top 2 or 3. I hope one day I can reach that. But I also have to know that it's not going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Just like during bad times, it might really fucking suck at that moment. But I also have to know it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, the good times, you want them to last, but they only stay so long. And the tough times are around the corner, because it's, you know, if you don't have those tough times, you don't really understand how to feel those good ones.
Right. Right.
Very true.
That's kind of, you know, tying it all in.
Yeah.
My uncle was at a very high point in his life. My uncle and my dad, they shared a really great business and an account in Forex and trading. They were doing really, really good. And my uncle ended up losing all the money. So, you know, I think he thought it was going to ride out for the rest of his life, and he was going to continue making tons of money, and it didn't happen that way, and he couldn't deal with it. Mm-hmm. So that's the lesson that I took from that. It's like, okay, well, you know, even though things may be going good, it is not always going to be that good. You want things to be good, but you don't want it's always going to be great, you know?
Yeah.
So just like I said, just like the bad times, sometimes you're going to go through some shit, but don't let it last.
It's almost like a pendulum. That crazy high is always going to be met by a crazy low. You know, they don't exist without each other.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So yeah.
So when you're riding high, you notice strap up that seatbelt, because
I think a lot of mistake that a lot of people make is when they're on that high, you know, they don't even take time to enjoy it. They just want to keep chasing. They want to keep chasing more and more and more and more. And then when it's gone, that's when you get depressed and everything, because you realize what you really had.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another great point. A lot of guys, and, you know, it's like, you know, not mentioning any names, but it's like a flash in the pan. They had all this crazy success, and then boom, it's all gone. You know,
rather than smelling the roses that you got, you just want more. And then it turns into a cycle you can't stop. And next thing you know, you're at the bottom looking up going, how the hell did I go from up there to down here? But hell, that's where the character's built, at the bottom, not the top.
Yeah.
You know?
So how are you guys doing? Enough about me. How are you guys?
Well, brother, I gotta say to you, I gotta say one more time, brother. You really are dropping some pearls here. I mean, there are gonna be so many people listening to this that are gonna be inspired and helped. And again, man, it takes a strong person to come and talk openly. And brother, me personally, I just want to say thank you again. This has been great for me, just listening to you talk. I can only imagine what the people listening are going to think too.
I really appreciate that. I mean, like I said, coming from a peer in this industry, and, you know, obviously somebody who's been through their own things, it's cool to hear that you're respectful of the fact that I am me, and that this is going to be me, and I'm trying to do good, and you're acknowledging that. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yeah. So kind of a nice change of gears to lighten things up a little bit. So you actually went through a surgery, which I'm going to have to actually do myself. And obviously you stayed awake for your abdominal surgery, right? For your hernia. I want to do the same thing, because when I get put under, it seems like there's always some complication. I just turned 50. I don't want to go under the guy. I want to stay awake. So tell me, tell everybody what that was like to watch them cut your stomach open, and then give me some confidence to do the same thing.
Well, I will start off by saying, if you're queasy, don't do it. If you're queasy, don't do it. I walked in there. So just to give a quick story, I had just won the Toronto Pro Show. I won the Puerto Rico Pro, Toronto Pro right after. I had about roughly 5 weeks between preps. I was going to get ready for the Olympia. So I remember landing here in Florida, and I had this surgery that, well, it wasn't scheduled, but I knew I had a hernia, and it was only going to get worse. So I remember reaching out to a doctor down in Miami. He does cosmetic stuff, and I asked him if he could do it. He said, absolutely not. So I moved on. I found another doctor. I told him, look, I don't have time. Because the way they try to do it is you got to get bloods done. You got to get labs done. They look at the labs. They make sure you're okay. And you got to do this cleanse.
Yeah. I mean, when they put you to sleep, are you gonna wake up, you know?
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to go through like getting labs done. I didn't have the time. I needed to get the surgery done.
Yeah.
And then recover and then get back to my training almost immediately.
Yeah.
So I finally found this doctor. He was great. I told him, look, I have an umbilical hernia. I need you to look at it. And if you can, I'd like to, you know, have the surgery, but I'm not going to go under. I would like to do it under local anesthetic. And the guy literally turned to me and goes, you're a crazy motherfucker. And I said, why? He goes, do you really want to see what happens? I said, dude, I don't care. I need to get to the Olympia. And for him, it was like, oh, you compete at the Olympia? Then he started showing me pictures of Rich Gaspari, and he's a fan of the sport. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'm getting ready for Olympia. Like, I don't have time. I need to, like, so he was on board. The crazier part about it is I also had a gynecomastia surgery too. I never had gyno. I had like little swelling and stuff, but it would always go away. So we did that at the same time. A lot of people, I've never said that openly, but he did that. Probably the best gyno surgery I've ever seen. I have nothing at all. He took the glands out. And then he started to do my umbilical hernia. And he goes, okay, you're getting ready? I'm going to cut open. I said, sure, go ahead. Cuts open. Everything's
so
good.
Real quick, you stayed awake for 2 different surgeries. Two nipples and an umbilical. Oh, yeah. Jesus. The story gets much better here.
Crazy. So, by the way, if anyone wants this doctor, he's phenomenal. He made an incision. I don't know if you can see it, but you can't even see it under it's not even under my areola, which is the darker skin. He did it under like my nipple, like a really small little nick, and cleaned everything out. Fucking phenomenal. Wow. Yeah, what they're doing today is crazy. Then he moved to my umbilical hernia. He starts to cut it open. He goes, everything good? I said, I'm okay. So I'm actually watching, maybe some of your viewers know I went to school for nursing, so I was a little bit intrigued at what was going on. Mm-hmm. So the umbilicus, which is the tube that is cut right from your mother. Yeah. Mine was completely loose and floating around in there. That's what would cause the protrusion. Whenever I would eat, there would be food in my stomach, and the umbilicus would protrude outward. So it was just like floating around in there. This is when I lost my shit. He grabbed it. And pulled it out. So, man, it's fucked up.
Oh, Jesus.
So now he had a mirror set up for me because I was watching, like I was intrigued. And now I can see like my intestines and shit. I lost it. I was like, oh, doc, I'm going.
But he had to give you some sort of a set, and he gave some Valium or something?
He gave me a Valium. So I'm like sitting there, I'm like, okay. And it was literally all of maybe 40 minutes. He put it back in, he stitched it in place, and then closed everything up.
Could you feel anything, or you didn't really feel anything with the local?
I felt tugging and pulling, but no pain at all. So other than visually seeing like what was inside of me, I was okay. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna opt to avoid the mirror. I won't let go. I don't want to see it happen. I'll just look at the ceiling and be quiet, you know. And I'll ask for the Valium ahead of time as well.
that would be smart. See, he asked me too, and I said, no, I'll be okay. I'm all right. No, you definitely take it.
Yeah,
definitely take it.
Right. Well, it gives me a little confidence to go do what you did.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I like it. I like it. So, brother, I got to say, man, this has been like the most fucking amazing, soulful experience having you on the show here. But the question that we got to ask you before you go, and you because, I mean, you're such a great guy as a person, and you've done so much in the sport. When you're gone, you know, what is it that Jon De La Rosa is going to be remembered for? What is your legacy? What's the most important to you? Because you're going to remember for a lot of things. But what's the most important to you?
So, you know, it's funny you asked this. I'm sure you're a little bit older than I am, or Akeem and I, and Akeem, maybe you're going through the same things. I don't know, but I'm at a point in my life where I really have thought about that. Like, okay, what am I known for? What do I want to be known for? What's my legacy? And yeah, the businesses are great, and you know, having muscles is great, but I've been thinking, like, none of that truly means anything in this world. Like, you know, that's selfish shit. You know, it's like, you know, I have abs and big arms, big fucking deal. And I'm sorry to every other person that cares about, like, cares that much about how they look. I'm just not that person. So in conclusion, what I've really thought about is what I want to be known for is, and I said this not too long ago, I just want to be loved for being love. You know what I mean? For being a source of love.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to know that, like, hey, you know what? Jon was always helpful. Jon was always caring. Jon was always a good person. Jon was always looking out for other people. Just a good addition to humanity. That's it. Yeah. I want to do good while I'm here on this earth. That doesn't necessarily mean being a Mr. Olympia, right? That's selfish. That's for me. And although I do want to accomplish that, I don't want people around me to know me as Mr. Olympia. I want people to know me as, hey, that's a really great fucking guy.
Person.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this Jon was a great guy. And oh, guess what? He was a great bodybuilder also, not the reverse.
Right.
Yeah. Well, brother, I got to tell you, you know, I mean, like I said, the first time, you know, we were working on that booth together and we got introduced, I had immediately about that, man, that dude he's a sincere dude. So I got to tell you, brother, I think you are probably a lot further on your way to leaving that behind than you know, just because, you know, just at a handshake, people can understand how just a good human being you are. And unfortunately, I think the world is running short on those, you know. So, you know, someone that's just a great human being is great.
You mean the bodybuilding industry? There's not a lot of those going around.
Which is why I feel all the more importance I should be that. I need to be that. Yeah, I need to show people that, like, look, I'm a big, strong guy, but that's not all of me. There's more, and you can be more. And although, yes, I understand when you're prepping, you need to have your cardio, you need to do your training, you need to have it. You can still be good. You can still be a good person. You can still smile. I tell everyone, like, you know, now owning the gym, I have people coming from all over, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you're here working." I'm like, "Yeah, I need to work," and they're like blown away by it. And it's like, you know, it's funny to me because people think that just because I'm a big guy, like, that's all there is to me. And
totally.
Then they start to talk to me, and they're kind of like, "Holy shit, Jon's a really cool dude."
Yeah, he's a real person.
And then I explain to them, like, guys, like, this isn't just the exterior isn't who I am, and it's not all I want to be. There's so much more to life. There's, you know, my girl the other day and I were talking, and again, this has been a topic of discussion for us. And, you know, I told her, like, I want to be a good father. I want to be a good provider. I want to be a good human. Like, everything that I do, like I said, I just want to be a source of love for people, and for people to know that, like, hey, you know what? Even though there's some really shitty people out there that are looking to do harm, that are looking not at your best interest, and there are people that are looking for your best. I have nothing to gain from texting Akeem when he's getting ready to get on stage except that I love him and I'm
Yeah.
really like fucking glued to the
Yeah.
TV, like cheering him on like a psychopath. But am I not right? Don't I?
Totally.
I'm so fucking
Always,
proud.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like,
Absolutely.
it costs me nothing to tell my brother, hey, I love you, man. I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? But I think people get so caught up in their own shit.
Yes. Yeah. The world gets moving too fast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
you know,
the other thing is that people are always looking for ulterior motives, right?
Yes.
Again, I don't gain anything from sending my boy, hey, dude, I love you. How do you go fuck some ass?
And you know what I think people miss is that it feels good to tell somebody that you love them. It feels good. And I think people kind of forget that, you know? And it's, you know, I tell people all the time, listen, man, don't be afraid to tell the people you love them, because it's not just for them. It's for you. It's that relationship that's being built. And with our world going so goddamn fast, people are going to lose touch with actually connecting, you know?
Yeah. It's funny though. There's some people, I tell all my boys I love them. I don't care how they feel about it. I don't care if they get awkward about it. Victor's the one guy, like, I'll text him or we'll be on the phone. I'm like, hey, all right, I love you, bro. I'll catch you later. He's like, all right, but like, you know what though? But I'm still going to tell him I love him, and it is this may sound a little bit morbid, but the truth is we never know when we're gonna go.
Yeah.
We never know when our last moments are. We never know when our last breath is. So if I can, again, make use of the time that I have and make people know, or let people know that, hey, I love you, I care about you, you're on my mind. If that helps them have a better day, if it helps them feel loved, if it helps them get through their day, I'm doing good. Again, that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, brother, you know, you want to be remembered for being a good human being. You know, that was part of my introduction. So, like I said, you're putting a whooping on that legacy already, man. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. You know,
we're not done. We're not done with bodybuilding yet. We still got bodybuilding. I still got some scores to settle in bodybuilding.
Absolutely. but
I know you do, man. And you're going to make it happen. I know you are.
Right.
Oh, brother, you're just getting your wheels turning, because if you look at life cycle, it's always after that really challenging time. That's when the best comes. So you even in the way you talk, you're in position. You're looking forward to what you're doing.
Yeah.
The new heights for you are coming, because you just finished with one of the toughest challenges, and you know it's just the way it's the life cycle. You know. Yeah. Your trajectory is going up. Yeah. You know, the question is, how high is it going to happen in this cycle? Because unfortunately, the cycle will happen again. Another challenge will hit you, and you'll rise above it, and the cycle will go again. Yep. How many cycles can a person deal with before they, you know, they're going to get to the peak? You just got to stick out those cycles. Right. And brother, I believe in you. I'm excited to watch this thing unfold.
The next time you get to the peak, you better plant the damn flag up there. let people know you've been there, man.
Like you did, like you did last year, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I love it.
People know you've been there. Yeah,
I love it. I'm gonna put my right next to yours.
Yeah, plant that shit, man.
I love it. I love it.
That's really cool.
Just before we get off here, I want to say this publicly, Akeem. I'm so fucking proud of you, dude. I remember I show people this video of us all the time when we were squatting those 7 plates.
Yeah,
remember that in Synergy?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait till the end of the video. Wait till the end of the video. Then they see it, they're like, is that Akeem? Akeem was a skinny little man. Akeem, I'm so fucking proud of you, man. I'm just blown away at your success and what you've been able to accomplish and with your physique. And dude,
thank you, bro. And I say the same thing for you. I'm always proud of you, and I know you're one of the best, and you're gonna, you know, definitely get back on stage and prove to everybody that you're one of the best to do it out in New York. And, you know, just want to make sure, just keep your confidence up, and, you know, can't wait to start killing the stage with you again, bro.
I will. Thank you,
brother. We all get to just sit back and watch all this develop, because it's your time, my brother.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show as well. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, there's another really killer soulful edition of Legends of Iron. We're here to inspire you and make the best of you, help you become the best version of yourself. And listening to our boy here, Jon De La Rosa, he's laying on the line to help you guys become the best version of yourself, not only in physical sense, but emotional and spiritual. And Jon, I got to thank you so much for your time here, brother. Yeah, thank you once again. That's another edition, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein.